Welcome to our whole brand new series, Thoth Reacts. You are tapping in to the root of the symmetry. I am your boy, Tahuti Trismegistus, here to help us connect, communicate, and correlate all of our infinite individuality so we can get our spirituality popping in physical reality. So there is a lot on the internet about me, the spirit, Chase, that has also articulated himself in creations such as Thoth Tahuti and Hermes. And those are both Chickatet. Go look into Chickatet. No one cares about Atlantis like that. But I mean, that's the point of just the progression of how we use lifetimes to express ourselves. Like my higher self is Iracel. I'm infinitely nothing. I'm a spirit. And anytime I have to come into a simulation, I express myself to do that. So the point of all of us as spirits being able to jump into simulations is that we can take on infinite forms, all of them being not us, because we are not a body. We are not any light. We create light to express ourselves. And then it's just over lifetimes, we start to consistently get this cycle and hammer in who are we in the universe. And then this is where the spirit becomes kind of like a clock. So this is natural. And I am making this series, Thoth Reacts, because there is so much on the internet about what Hermes said, about what Thoth said, about all this wisdom from the Emerald Tablets that is lies. And that's why I made Tablet Talks. So, if you're not familiar with Tablet Talks, it's basically the series where I go through all of my texts and I actually tell the truth about what I wrote in them. Because the colonizers, the entities that be, that especially have me and all of us speaking English right now so that we can connect under their ideas, are not going to actually give you the ideas that I did not write in English. The point of English is to create this container where everyone who speaks it thinks that they are energy, so that they're scared of their spirit. So this is the point of Thoth Reacts. Everything online, no matter what it is, if it's using my name, it's pushing lies. And it's like almost the wisdom, but it's the weaponized wisdom that they're just like, okay, let's take freedom and use it to enslave people. So that's what is going on. When they look at my tablets, they're keeping everything from the population based on how they've colonized Egypt and Mesoamerica. And then they're like, okay, this is how we can use it against people. So what are we going to tell people he wrote in there? Which is why I had to be here in this body as Chase Clarence Calloway, having gone through all the years of English white supremacist indoctrination, so I can actually be in communion with my spirit and communicate what I meant when I originally wrote these tablets. Because right now, everyone's lost in lies of light based on how they think. For some reason, the entities who went out of their way to colonize and take over the world and steal indigenous artifacts are going to actually release the truth of what, of what we wrote in there. Oh, snap. Yeah. So, welcome to Thoth Reacts. Someone who I love on the internet, Billy Carson, shout out him. This is about to be a reaction to his video. A lot of these videos, I'm sure, are going to be his because he's sort of the main man out there right now and has been out there spearheading everything that I've been about as far as vibrational reality and holographic reality. And just the thing is, he's so scientific about it. See, it's not an indigenous perspective. It's like that light white supremacist, we're created by something outside of ourselves, and I need to keep learning from something outside of myself so that I can accumulate more. And it's like so backwards. And it's all about these entities forgetting that they were spirits. So Billy Carson, shout out him, it's just that he's very Christianized. I even saw a video where he was speculating that Tahuti and Jesus were the same. Like that was some podcast where he was saying like, oh, I'm Jesus. And it's weird because my story in this lifetime is the fact that I was forced to be a Christian for many, many years, my entire childhood and teenage years. And it was only once I got the freedom of going to college that I was able to start doing psychedelics and connect with my spirit again in a way that was like, hey, you need to not eat food for long, long amounts of time. A lot. Especially after this lifetime. Like, you need to just consistently not eat food like as much as you can. So that led to like 3-day water fast, 5-day water fast, a 10-day water fast. I finally hit that 24-day water fast before going down to this huge convention and like showing everyone that was telling me I couldn't do it that I was not only more than alive, but very healthy. Fasting is only possible. And here's the wisdom of fasting. You know that you're creating something from nothing. That's the only way fasting is possible. See, so all these people, this is what English is made to do. English is meant to make you think you need to consume to live. It's meant to trap you in a simulation. It's meant to make you think that you have to keep eating all these lights so that you can stay alive. And it's just a complete fundamental ignorance of the spirit. Complete fundamental ignorance of the spirit. It's like only being lost in physical reality. And it's just like these entities weaponize anything that they can. They weaponize spirituality to make you lost in physical reality because they're controlling physical reality. They can manipulate your current, and now they're making currency as you build their world, and that's the money and all that. So let's get in here. All right, this is Billy Carson talking about creation according to Thoth and Hermes. So what these entities do is they take what we naturally do, and all they can, especially as like white supremacists who don't really even understand what's going on, they create logic. So it's like we see with doctors and just like lawyers, where they feel powerful once they create a label and they use that label to assign to something, because now they feel like they can control that thing. They have no idea what that thing is. They can't control that thing at all. It's untamable. It's emotional. But they create this logic over here. They're like, okay, that water is like hella chaotic, but we got this earth. Boom. And then they're like, all right, we can control the water with the earth, and now we're creating life. And that's how they operate. When they're not even concerned with understanding the water or, you know, relating with the earth that naturally comes out of the water. Like, how does that water naturally stabilize itself? They don't care about that. So we're about to get in here. Is my phone about to die? My phone's about to die. Let's call it.
So let's talk about creation according to Thoth. In the creation myth, we were introduced to astrology and the influence of the planets upon man, from which man is expected to rise above. We have dualism, a God of the heavens and one who created the earth. We have the idea of man as a son or part of God. We have man being given the power of creation. You create your own reality. The idea that man has a dual nature, one in heaven, the non-material or soul and spirit, and one in the physical, in the world of the matter, the body.
So this is all true so far. That's what's like weird. Like, see, this is the whole thing with English. Like, this is true to me because of my relationship with the words, but that's because I'm me. When people read this, they're still thinking like someone gave them freedom. Like, how can you be given freedom? Like, you are infinitely free. Anything someone gives you weighs you down. Like, it's so wild. So that's the emotional manipulation of like hell, physical reality. It's easy when you're so separated from freedom to think that being given something means that you're more free. You know, that's how, especially here in America, it's been running. Like, hey, if you're a slave to us, then you'll be able to do whatever you want. Like, oh, so as long as I do whatever you tell me to do, I can do whatever I want. And it's like, that's somehow the logic that has allowed slavery and the genocide of indigenous peoples to continuously be happening under the nose of everyone who just enjoys watching TikToks on the internet now. So it's very wild because this is true to me, but I know that it's weaponized to make people think that some greater form outside of themselves gave them a higher vibration than they naturally feel. And this is all just predicated on the idea that you don't feel free. You don't feel like you're infinitely whatever you want to be on your own. You feel like you need someone else to make you greater. But that's impossible. To me as a true God, it's impossible. Like anyone else adding on to you is dense. You're getting their density. Like you can only be an individual. So dualism, the God of the heavens and the one who created earth. That's like, bro, like we create everything. The heavens is air, the earth is earth. So if you've seen Building Blocks of Life, then you've seen me break down how we use numbers to create life and what every number means, the energetic signature, and then how each number correlates to the elements and how they play out in physical reality. Because it's numbers and elements and how these are both vibrational, and the vibration is invisible. It's just that everything you see that's logically blocked out from emotion needs to vibrate at the emotion that it was blocked out from. We see the idea of man as the son or part of God. Like, so, all right, part of God. So what is God? God is the creator. Okay, so God is like the idea of like infinite possibility. And it's weird because there's spirit and there's God. I would almost say spirit is bigger than God. Like it goes spirit, God, and then Lucifer, and then man, human, and then demon. And that's just correlated to the elements right there. Spirit is nothing. That's a zero. And then we get the one where all creation comes from. You have your own individual imagination. Anything is possible. That's God. So that's the fire. And then we have the Lucifer. So this would be the mind. And the mind is once God decides to connect with itself. Because God is a desire. But if God is just projecting out a vision, then there's nothing. There's no one to receive it. And then there's no circuit. And then you can't get a loop. And now you don't have any water cycle. So that's the point of fire going into water based on how it creates this other fire. So then that's where you as a God, you have your imagination and you have your feelings, which are like more infinite than your imagination. This is already the loop. It's like wild because your imagination, the fact that you even felt like going from nothing into something meant that there was an invisible vibration. So this is why we're in this toxically masculine society where light, white, supremacist conditioned people are obsessed with man and obsessed with masculinity because of this English stuff that I'm talking about. They are conditioned to only believe in what they can see and not what they can feel. And that's all correlated then to you feeling like you need someone to make you free and like you need to be given something so that you can feel higher. Because literally you don't feel free on your own. So for whatever reason, you as a spirit in infinite nothingness, when you created your body, it was created from the feeling of not wanting to connect with yourself, running from yourself, which means it looks like in this reality, many realities, as you creating a cult or like joining a cult, let's say, creating or joining a cult. If you're interested in like making people connect with an idea, like a cult is a religion, a culture, you're interested in claiming lands and like creating a culture and like creating cults out of like sports and all these things. And then getting all these people to unite under ideas that aren't theirs. If you resonate with that, then that's because you're running away from your spirit. And spirits who are running away from their spirit desire to connect with other spirits. So this is why misery needs company. Watch out for anyone who wants to hang out with you and feel out why. Always feel out why. Why do people want to spend time with you? Okay? Why? Because like, you know, I've been through a lot of life. My name is Chase because I am like truly dealing with this cult stuff. All right. Like truly dealing with people feeling like they'll be more free once they latch onto me. And that's worship. And worship is really gross. Worship is the epitome of you forgetting that you're infinite. And then it's like, if you forgot you're infinite and you're worshiping my infinity, me as an actually infinite being, not in my ego, why would that make me feel good? Why? What, like, do you think I want to hang out with someone who does not feel infinite on their own when I do? So you're just draining me forever now. This is why like spirits can like be the hottest girls, the hottest girls. So many of these women like are just in like super hot bodies because they wanted to create the opportunity to latch on to someone and drain their energy. And because everyone loves beautiful women, we were born into the world and trained to suck on a nipple from a boob for nourishment. So everyone grew up sucking on titties. It doesn't matter. All right. Everyone loves titties. So it's like, if you're a spirit that wants to connect with the most people, you're going to make a body that has the biggest titties, the biggest butt. And then it's like you can be the most tortured on the inside and just like live what appears to be a super happy outside life. So I'm just going into all that to say that you are literally God. You're literally the spirit creating all aspects of your life. And then it's just a matter here of how do you feel about that? And the point of speaking English and all this stuff is that this language only vibrates at the frequency of you are not the creator, you are the consumer. Thus, God, our idea of the creator, the people who made the language then, is better than you. And this is what you need to relate with. So it's even though like this makes sense to me, it comes out in ways like this, in terms of just being like, oh yeah, God's giving you this, blah, blah. Just everyone's relationship with God is that it's outside of themselves. So spirit, nothing. 1, fire, God. 2, Lucifer. That's the mind. That's God connecting with itself. So then that's where it becomes evil. Like we think of like getting lost in light. That would be God connecting with itself so much that it thinks its imagination is real when it's not. God literally just made that imagination from the desire of being something other than nothing. But now it's lost in being something. So that's how you can just get stuck in any realm and like get reincarnated forever and ever. So human then is when the mind ignites that first God, it remembers that it's God. So when you're a mind and you fight yourself, but you remember that you're creating your reality, now you're a human. Now we have wars, right? Here we are in human world. That's the air. So this is where air is balanced, yet air looks masculine. So air is balanced, it looks masculine, yet it feels feminine. The point is that it is a combination of fire and water, and fire and water are both invisible. They can't be seen other than by the individual spirit, invisible, inside the spirit. It only goes outside the spirit. Once the spirit is like, okay, thoughts, feelings, my fire and water, I'll just, boom, human. And then that's the who. So that's why I like Tahuti. All right. We don't, I mean, Thoth, I'm using Thoth to communicate with you because so many people just know Thoth, but that's Aleister Crowley, actually Freemasonic colonizer stuff, like twisting Tahuti. And that who of the human is about color and air and just like shades and like how air is the externalization of all possibilities. So spirit is nothing until it communicates its fire and water by becoming air. So now that air, now we have the universe where like everything is infinitely communicating based on what it decided to connect to. So humans communicating, who man, that man is the light, the who is the creation, the pushing out of that light. And then everyone has different colors of skin based on what kind of spirit you are. And like the body that you have represents who you are before you made this body and what lessons you got to learn and everything based on all that invisible subconscious stuff that we can't see until you tap into yourself and communicate it with us. The demon then is the earth. And then that's the idea of the ego. Like earth is like, okay, I'm not going anywhere. And the thing is, the spirit is infinitely changing. The spirit, the only constant is change. So the moment you become a demon is when you go from communicating and then desiring your communication to build a structure that allows you to stay forever. This is natural because this is how simulations work. So a simulation is demonic energy. Like the point of like everything communicating is like, whoa, here we are in like the universe. And like that's all basically affirming the astral realm. The astral realm would be the water. That's like our first connection where it's mainly feeling. It's just the astral realm looks like air based on how we're all then igniting our imaginations into it after we felt like connecting our darkness together. And then from there, that's our chi. And our chi is what animates our bodies. So like my chi is animating my body because my spirit is combining thoughts and feelings just constantly together. And I'm like doing this from nothing. Like I like meditate, separate from all the thoughts and feelings. And like, wow, I'm acting from nothing. So it's a shame when Billy Carson, like he on TikTok the other day, I saw said, God is energy. Wrong. Completely wrong. So that's the thing, right? God, like I'm saying, frequency. Lucifer would be more associated to the vibration then. And humans and demons are both energy, right? Energy is air and earth. Vibration is water. Frequency is fire. So all water vibrates at a certain frequency, and that creates energy. And that energy is dual. So the heavens is the air, and then the earth is the earth. We have man being given the power of creation. You create your own reality. See, like man being given the power of creation is insane. Like the point is that you just created your man from communicating your God into your Lucifer. And it's just like weaponized truth here. Like that's where this makes sense to me, but it's just because I'm the spirit, like one in heaven, non-material, the solar spirit, and one in physical in the world of matter, the body. In fact, and even that is wrong, right? So they're literally trying to, honestly to me now, make you think that, because like I'm saying, heaven is air. Spirit is nothing at all. It's just that heaven is the externalization of spirit, okay? So that's why earth is demonic. Like, so heaven and Hermes, like when I'm like flying through the heavens and stuff, that's just being in air mode. That's just knowing that everything's communicating through chi. And then that's the idea of utilizing the caduceus to travel between life and death and like shepherd, herald souls back to their spirits, helping them on their individual journeys where they need to go and just facilitating communication, all that stuff. It's not about, see, like non-material, the soul or spirit. How dare they? No, boo. The soul or a spirit. There's a distinction. The spirit makes the soul so that it can learn about who it is amongst other spirits. All right, so this is the point of paradox. You're not an individual until you're able to connect with others. Like that's like the weird thing of spirit. When we desire to be individuals, that means we need something to rebel against, or else we're all just the same. Like that's like the point of there then being a government and there being an overall like world views. And then there's always in all societies and realms, the artists, right? So there's the abstract thinkers. The artists are the ones who are connected to their spirit. So they're more emotional and thus they're not playing by the rules of the world. And then the world playing by these earth demon rules, they view that artist as a demon when really that artist is the one closest to God. And then those demons are learning about themselves based on how they're projecting out their desires to whatever ego things. It's cool. So yeah, we'll continue. This is turning into a whole thing. This wasn't supposed to be that long, but that's the point of making these videos. I can get way more wisdom out in a video and it's way more fun to listen to than writing and like you like reading it in your own voice. New times. Yes, and the fall, leaving heaven to be with nature. And I mean, whatever, videos are natural. All right, this is just all like super dense versions of what we're already doing. Like I should be able to just project my consciousness through some technology or teleport or project a hologram to communicate with you and feel like I'm in that hologram. That's the point of astral projecting. That's the point of making any mental body at all. The entities that made English, they read my tablets. I talk about how to do that. They're like, cool. We don't want people knowing how to do that because we won't be able to enslave them in their own land and make them hate themselves so that they worship us. So let's just change that, keep that for ourselves. We'll weaponize this against them. And now no one knows how to actually create mental Merkabas and travel wherever they want to go in the heavens, air. Because the point of you being in a body is that you're grounding yourself in some earth, some simulation. But all simulations are connected by chi. So this is why you can create a Merkaba and go to any other simulation, any other world. It's just that a world that's so obsessed with making you a slave and brutally tearing your mind and body apart is not going to want you to be able to leave. That's like the ultimate narcissistic relationship, right? The abusive partner is like, hey, you're nothing without me. And it's true, but they feel so negative about nothing. You can see how they project that negative vibration into you, right? You're nothing without me. And it would be up to you as an alchemist to be like, well, yeah, and my nothing is infinite. But because then it takes two to tango, if you feel like your nothingness is whack, you'd be like, I am nothing without you, and I want to be something. So now your desire to be something is allowing you to be abused by someone who hates you because they hate themselves. And that's why they're colonizing and stealing everything, because they're trying to figure out how can everyone love themselves, but it only leads them to want to use the things that people made to express their love for themselves to enslave them, because that's their version of loving themselves, is thinking that there's not enough space in the universe for everybody. Like, you're so lost in that scarcity mind. It's insane. Colonizers, whatever.
And then we have the fall, which is leaving from heaven to be with nature. These are ancient teaching, guys. This is nothing I'm making up. Creation, according to Hermes, in the beginning was Noah's, which we know as God, created a second Noah's, who becomes a craftsman and creates the world. Noah's 2 creates 7 powers in 7 spheres, around which will become the earth. This is now talking about sacred geometry. The spheres have control over what will be the earth. They control what we know as destiny.
What? That was really it. Bad.
Will be the earth.
Okay. Well, whatever. This is Thoth Reacts. So this is basically like, this is low-key like a cosmic conversation. But no, I am clearly breaking down this. It's just like, sometimes I'm amazed by how long I go. Again, that's the point of the video, whatever. And I'm not even editing this. Like, I could edit this out, but I'm not, because now it's done. Back in here. In the beginning, Noah's God created a second Noah's, who becomes a craftsman and creates the world. So right here, we already see how they just love using logic. So they want to teach you to call something it, and they feel like the more that they can get all these people to call it, they're garnering that power. And they are. That's the point of language. Word. See, notice, like, this is how they feel. Like, in the beginning was the word. All right. So this is like their Bible stuff. Billy Carson says this. He like lives by this. Like, yeah, in the beginning was the word. And then that's why he thinks that God is energy, because it's that same thing. The word is energy. When true wisdom, if you have true wisdom, then you would know that the word is created. And what is it created from? Feeling like connecting. No one is making words if they don't feel like connecting with someone outside of themselves. So right there, it's literally just saying, like, in the beginning was the word, aka the result of someone articulating their desire to connect. That's so ultimately demonic. So this is how, like, the Luciferian energy is being weaponized then, with like the water mind and the God connecting with itself. And this is how these gods want to connect with all the other gods, by saying, hey, we are the only gods in the universe. Like, we're all here creating life while you're not creating life. So let us take all the life you've created up to this point and kill you. So it's just infinite lostness. Infinite lostness. And this infinite lostness relies on getting everyone lost in logic, using earth against people, so that the more you're speaking these words, the more you're putting your feeling into them and growing their world and nurturing them. And boom, it's lit for them. For the people who made this language, they're super happy. They're manifesting big time. So they weaponize like all this spiritual truth, whatever, it's just lies, by saying that the word is in the beginning. Like, in the beginning was the word was God, and the word was with God. And it's like, you literally are completely ignoring the fact that there had to be nothing first. So there's just infinite nothingness. And then, based on some invisible feeling, a first imagination came out of that nothingness. But that nothingness, that first imagination, is not sustainable because it's just a projection. So then that nothingness has to create another imagination to then bounce off, and now it can connect with itself and create water. They're saying this is where it starts. Like after the entity is connecting with itself, they're saying the world starts once the entity is like, yeah, this is life, is then the earth that comes out of the air. Because really the air can't be seen. The moment it communicates, that's not even the word. It's just making the word possible. So then the earth comes out. Like now the word is there. And the point of air is that it is the water carrying the fire. So now that earth has meaning because of the air. Whereas before, it didn't. And it just wasn't even possible. So the Bible is just reliant on being like, hey, in the beginning was earth, basically English. like, because that's their new world. Like, that's their idea of life. Like, okay, the beginning is this logic. And it's just like, you literally have to completely ignore the fact that you can make up your own words to think that that was the beginning of the whole universe. Like, you literally have to ignore yourself. For this to make sense, for like the Christian colonizer mindset of how life is made to make sense, you have to ignore your spirit. You have to be only focused on the white supremacist logic that has been used to colonize your space. And I get like, that's the warfare. This is why I'm here feeling so passionate about making videos this long and just getting in here with like big Virgo mode of just like details. This is important. This is important. This is important. I would not be able to write this so efficiently in a tablet, let alone have people read it. Very nice for people to be able to listen to it. Now, the point of the tablets is that, you know, they are vibrational, but everything's vibrational. So again, super lostness in the Bible. The fact that they don't talk about the vibration, they literally are like, okay, so the word is created from the vibration, but the beginning was the word. That's the toxic masculinity that I'm talking about. The hatred of women, the hatred of blackness. They're ignoring water. They want to look at this fire. And then really that fire needs to be earth. And then that's where we get metal, because you can't actually touch fire. It's too hot. It's just that this earth is vibrating at the frequency and like getting transformed by fire, which creates metal. And that metal is what they use to kill everybody, is colonizing supremacists who take over indigenous lands and everything. So this is why metal is so big in removing water from earth. All right. If I get metal, I can remove your water from your earth, your blood from your body. And the less blood you have in your body, the less your spirit can communicate with it. And if you have no blood, well, now your spirit cannot communicate with the creation that it made to express itself. And boom, you're dead. So this is lostness. Like, whatever. And the 7 powers and 7 spheres that will become earth, like, even that is just like whatever. I don't even feel like doing that, bro. Like, they control, we know it's destiny. There's like there's no such thing as destiny. And if there's anything as destiny, what they're saying is that astrology is destiny. And astrology is just a water cycle. It's that simple. You don't have to be focused on it. It's just that the moment you enter a simulation, you need to know that you're being ruled under a water cycle. So in Atlantis, we know with our interdimensional technology, when you know that air is a combination of fire and water, then really you know that everything is underwater, because everything that's happening is a denser version of everyone feeling like connecting. So just the fact that we feel like connecting with one another is the lightest vibration that we have after not connecting. If you're like a powerful spiritual individual, at least. So you desire to be alone. That's the highest vibration. The second highest vibration is the desire to connect with others who also love being alone then. So that you can build and give value to the universe. These are the highest vibrations you can be in. This is like what spirit is trying to do if it articulates itself. Because the whole point of spirit is that it expresses its individuality. But hey, lots of spirits want to express their individuality by taking over the creations of other spirits because they don't feel good about producing anything from their space. And they may never feel good about producing anything from their space. You know, because there'll always be their space. So then it's just like you're an infinite consumptive spirit, and hey, Communication, we've got it going on. So all destiny would be is the fact that when you plug into a simulation, there's astrology. Like everything is being ruled by the stars. Everything is underneath the water cycles, the emotions that have already been mapped out of how this reality is going to make sense. That's the point of astrology. So we all feel like connecting, and then we feel like making sense out of how we're going to connect. And then that's the idea of like, okay, so the planets are all moving in this way. They all have this kind of a relationship. So I can create a body in this time. And that's going to help express my individuality in this way based on how I'm tethered and connected to these planets in the water. And then I can like see the future just based on how the planets are going to move and how I'm going to be affected by them. That's destiny. You know, like seeing how you are in a reality that has already been mapped out by you and everyone else to learn about yourself. So it's not about getting lost in the idea of like, oh, destiny, like someone's controlling my fate. No, it's you created the situation where you could feel like you're not in control of what's going on outside of yourself so that you could learn how to gain better control over yourself. Because when you're a god and you're just like in that God Lucifer mode, if you're just Lucifer and you're just like God Lucifer interacting with yourself, you literally will forget how to control yourself because you forgot that you're an individual. Like you can create all these subconscious things and like all these mental bodies and just like do whatever you want. Like you can be 100 people, like that hive mind lady in Rick and Morty, where Rick is then able to like hook up with anyone he wants on that hive mind's world because they're all being controlled by her. Like that's what it's like to live in your own subconscious. Like no matter who you see, no matter who you're interacting with, it's all actually you. So the point of you communicating and deciding to go into the external is to anchor all of that into one body so that then we can actually be individuals together and learn about ourselves as gods. So yeah, that's the point of astrology. Is I mean, look at your astrology maps or whatever, charts. Yes, your charts. And just know that you as a spirit specifically chose to be born in that time so that you can learn about yourself based on how your personality, your infinite personality, which is greater than anything, is reflected in this finite system. And then that's the point of looking at your sun, your moon, your ascendant, your Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. Like it's talking about here, the planets, these satellites are just ideas meant to, Earth ideas meant to solidify the water cycle that reflects back to you your own water cycle. And your water cycle is how you cycle through your emotions. And that ultimately is your soul, your personality, which is not your spirit. Like Billy said at the beginning, solar spirit. No. Okay. So the point is the soul is water. The body is earth. The spirit is nothing. And then like fire and air, like the big connectors and like power, all that. Except nothing, but you know, over here. So this is Thoth Reacts. Peace. Mwah, 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 mwah.